Version 2.2 gives us Orphie. She's the newest fire attack agent on the block. She is a sub DPS and she is a buffer. She could be described as the missing link in Aftershock teams, and in this video I'm gonna teach you everything you need to know to truly master Orphie. So hello everybody, my name is Hako and welcome into the channel. Now before we begin, my experience and testing and this guide is based on my experience with Orphie on the creator beta servers, so changes might apply before she hits live, but if they do, I'll pin them down in a comment. So like I said, Orphie is a sub DPS and she is a buffer, and she is what we call an off-field agent. Orphie kinda plays herself in a similar fashion to Trigger and Yufufu, although she is slightly more interactive. And you might be asking yourself, Hako, does this new agent have its own special resource with a different name that we also need to try to remember? Yes, she does. Orphie has a special resource called Bottled Heat. Now, she can have up to 125 bottle heat, but you'll see a little notch at 100, so we need 100 to do her big thing, which is her hold EX special attack button. With the 100 bottle heat, you can switch to Orphie, you can hold her EX special attack button, and she will start charging her laser. Now this laser ramps up over time, and if you take a hit while charging the laser, you will immediately go to like the highest level of it immediately. But as soon as the laser hits an enemy, a quick assist will be prompted to the next character in line. And we always want to take this quick assist because Orphie will continuously fire her laser anyhow, so there's no reason to stay on her. Now when the laser hits an enemy, the entire team, all 3 of the characters, will get the zeroed in status effect. What the zeroed in buff does is that it increases all the agent's attacks by up to 700, scaling with energy regen. And the buff caps out at 700, and we reach this if we can manage to get 3.7 energy regen per second. Another important thing to note with zeroed in state is that the base kit lasts for 12 seconds, but any character that has this buff, if that character does an aftershock attack, they will extend it by 4 seconds, up to a maximum extension of 20 seconds. And not 20 seconds total, it's 12 plus an extra 20 if we can do aftershock attacks. And this is one of the reasons why Orphie works really well with aftershock attacks and not so much outside of aftershock teams. Important to note is that almost everything in Orphie's kits counts as an aftershock attack. And I'm talking her basic attacks, her EX special attacks, her chain attacks and her ultimate. And for her additional passive Forged in Flames, when another character in your squad is a stun or a support character, aftershock damage dealt by agents with zeroed in ignores 25% defense. So Orphie kinda continues the formula that we have seen of aftershock agents in the past, where they all bring some sort of buff to the table that the other aftershock agents on the team can benefit of. Think of it as a nice picnic. Soldier Ambi, she brings the crit damage, Orphie brings attack and pen ratio, and Trigger brings a decent amount of damage and stun. Now Orphie is a pretty basic character to pick up and play just for the fact that she plays herself. Her basic attack is absolutely nothing to write home about. The multipliers are actually kinda the worst in the game, even trailing behind Nekomata. So this kinda gives us a clear indication that we are not supposed to be basic attacking too much with Orphie. Her dodge, nothing special, her defensive assist is kinda decent, and assist follow-up doesn't have half bad multipliers. But instead, the big skill for Orphie is her EX special attack, and as you can see, she has a lot of them. Now this might look complicated, but actually it is not. So for EX special, watch your step. With enough energy, press the EX special attack button to activate. Orphie will shoot a small little laser out and she will gain 20 bottled heat. Now she has another EX special attack called Crimson Vortex that works very much in the same fashion, with the big caveat is that this one she does automatically off-field. It also restores 20 bottled heat, and it will be cast whenever Orphie does an attack and have more than 60 energy. And if we take a little bit of a look at the modifier difference between Watch Your Step and Crimson Vortex, we can see that the Crimson Vortex one, so the one that she casts automatically, has ridiculously higher modifiers. So if we manually, while controlling Orphie, cast her EX special attack, well, we do less than a third of the damage we would do if we just let Orphie cast this one from off field. So you might be asking yourself, Hako, is there ever any reason to be casting it manually yourself? Well, Orphie has an internal cooldown of 4 seconds between her attacks, and if we desperately need to reapply her buff, it might sometimes, depending on situation, be wise to pop into Orphie and do it manually just to bypass the internal cooldown. But in general, in most circumstances, no. No, let her handle her own EX special. Then we reach the third EX special, which is called Heat Charge. Now this is Orphie's bread and butter attack. When bottle heat is greater than or equal to 100, you hold the special attack button to activate. Orphie will consume 100 bottle heat and she will charge a laser at the enemy. Like I said before, the laser will trigger a quick assist forward, so if she's number 1, she will quick assist into slot number 2. Always take the quick assist because Orphie will then herself carry out the entire attack. If she takes an attack while charging up her laser, she will start charging up her laser even faster. And after she's done firing a laser, she will automatically follow up with EX special attack Fiery Eruption. So she will take up into the air and then shoot laser down on the enemy. As for the chain attacks and ultimates, there are some interesting things to note. Chain attack Overheated Barrel, nothing too fancy about it, but it does restore 20 points of bottled heat. Which means that we more usually than not want Orphie to do chain attacks. The modifiers aren't half bad as well, so yeah, always do your chain attacks with Orphie. Then for ultimate, Dance with Fire. If you're used to playing Bernice, this one will feel very much at home. Orphie will leap up into the air and she will trigger a quick assist forward, and if you take that quick assist, so like you switch out, she will stay up into the air for longer and also do more damage. The ultimate also recovers 20 bottle heat. So the general gameplay loop of Orphie and Magus, it is very simple. Let her do her own thing. When she has enough bottled heat, well, you pop into her, you hold the EX special attack button and then you hop out again. Make sure you do her chain attacks and make sure that you do her ultimate in an appropriate window, maybe a stun window. If you play Orphie right in an Aftershock team, you will have 100% uptime of her zeroed in buff. Outside of Aftershock teams, just because the buff is 12 seconds compared to 32, there will be quite a lot of downtime between the buff windows, so then you have to make sure that you time the buff windows accordingly. So in a stun window, for example. Whenever Orphie performs her EX special attack off field, or if you do it manually, she will gain 20 bottle heat. We need 100 to be able to shoot her laser, and she can stack up 125, which means that she has a little bit of storage for stockpiling to the next laser, but try to not overcap yourself too much. Because one of the things you need to keep in mind with Orphie is that she will cast her EX special attack whenever she has 60 energy, even if she's all full up on bottle heat. I almost wish we could turn this off, just stockpile resources for a stun window, but it will happen automatically, so make sure that we're not wasting bottle heat. Orphie's core passive also gives her 25% crit rate and a massive 85% increase to aftershock damage. So even if Orphie's multipliers doesn't look too fancy, remember that she also buffs most of her attacks with an 85% increase. So let Orphie automatically expend her energy to build up bottled heat. When she has 100 bottle heat or more, we can switch into Orphie, preferably via defensive assist, and we can charge her laser, take a quick assist out. It sounds very simple because it is. It's simple, but it is hella deadly. Now as for the teammates you want to bring together with Orphie, her very best slot team is Soldier Zero Ambi and Trigger. Now Soldier Zero Ambi is receiving buffs in the upcoming patch, so I might have to release an updated guide once that has hit. Most new aliens, they have their already fought out team that they're meant to belong in, and this is Orphie's. Orphie, Zambi and Trigger, because they all buff each other, which is what Aftershock is all about. If you're lacking Trigger, she can be substituted quite easily with Pulchra. It won't be quite as deadly, but it will still be very, very good. Another character that also has Aftershock attacks and that works magnificently with Orphie is Yufufu. So for example, Orphie, Soldier Zero Ambi and Yufufu is a very deadly combo. Now important to note that a lot of Orphie's best teammates, they are electric aliens, and as of right now in the game, not too many enemies are weak to both electric and fire. It's kinda the opposite. If they're weak to fire, they're usually resistant to electric, or vice versa, so weak to electric but strong against fire. What is extremely good and extremely valuable with Orphie is that even if the enemy is resistant to her, the capable buffs that she brings to her electric teammates still allows her to clear content where she is de-incentivized. Now I bet a lot of you are wondering about Seed, and I was theorizing that Seed and Orphie, they were gonna be the perfect teammates for each other. Now they are a very strong pair paired together, and as of right now Seed does not have a better attacker to be paired up with than Orphie, just because Seed wants a lot of field time and Orphie is the only attacker that does things while they're not on the field. But their kits have more desynergy than synergy. Seed wants the active character to be expending energy in order for her to get steel charge, and she also does not possess any aftershock attacks, meaning that Orphie's buff is very limited in time on Seed. But still, they are a very potent combo paired together just because they're both like two really strong agents. And had Seed just had some sort to extend Orphie's buff, they would have been so much more deadly together. Now, I also got in a question a lot like, oh, Hako, can I use Orphie to like replace my Astra and just have her as a buff for general attackers? So like say that you pair up together with Evelyn. Yes, that does work, but it does come with some limitations, mostly the fact that her buff only lasts for 12 seconds on non-aftershock agents, and also that her additional ability that allows the entire team's aftershock attacks to bypass 25% defense is kinda wasted on any attacker that is not Soldier Zero Ambi. But can she work as a good sub DPS? With Evelyn, for example, against Pompeii, she can absolutely, you just have to be careful about when you time your buff, since the uptime on it is gonna be kinda bad. Another question that I've gotten a lot is, oh, Hako, can Orphie be the main DPS? Like, I really like Orphie, can she be the main DPS? Can she be the star of the show? In a team like this, which would be Evelyn's best in slot team, Lighter and Astra. You definitely can. Evelyn in the same position will get you more score, but you can pull this off. But what you would have to do is build Lighter as an on-field main DPS. Because even if you put even more buffs on Orphie and have her do like a bigger share of the damage, someone else needs to be on the field so she can do her more potent off-field attacks. So, can you do it? Yes, you can. Should you do it? Well, debatable. If you care about getting a high score or whatever, then you shouldn't. But if you just want to have fun and just do main DPS Orphie, knock yourself out. As for the skills to level, core skill takes priority, after that special attack, after that ultimate, and then assist, you can kinda completely ignore basic attack and dodge. As for the 4-piece, it is kinda non-negotiable, she wants a 4-piece Shadow Harmony. This set is absolutely goated for Orphie, it's made for aftershock agents, and if you run Orphie together with Soldier Zero Ambi and Trigger, they are kinda all gonna wanna be on this disc set specifically, so I hope that you have a lot of good ones available. If you have other fire agents on your team, could you get away with running Inferno Metal? You could, but you will see a decrease in performance. But it is the second best in slot after Shadow Harmony, but Shadow Harmony is quite a bit better. I've been getting a question, can she be run on Dawn's Bloom? Just because it came out on her patch, so people are thinking that there might be some synergy. No. If you remember, her basic attack modifiers are horrendously bad, so no Dawn's Bloom, please. As for the 2-piece, you either want a 2-piece Swing Jazz or a 2-piece Off the Moonlit Lullaby. If you remember, Orphie's buff scales of energy regen, and kinda her entire kit revolves around her getting enough energy to do her EX special attacks, so energy regen is super important. As for this number 4, we want either crit rate or crit damage. You can also get away with attack percentage if the substats are good enough. For number 5, you want fire damage bonus or attack percentage or pen ratio, in that order. For number 6, opt in from main stat energy regen. Energy regen is so important for Orphie that we need to get it wherever we can get it. Can you get away with running attack percentage on 6? Yes, but you will see a drop in performance. Now let's talk some engines. Orphie's signature engine is a very good engine, and I would say it's one of the most worth pulley ones that we've seen so far. But it does come with some caveats. One, Orphie is the only character in the game that actually wants this engine, so if you compare it to Evelyn's engine, where that engine is kinda the second best in slot for most attackers, well, Bellicose Blaze is Orphie only. It gives 60 energy regen, which is obviously in the stat that Orphie scales off. It gives 20% crit rate, and it also allows Orphie to bypass 30% of a target's defense. Incredibly good engine, there's no way around it. But I've done extensive testing and trying out a bunch of different engines, and I slapped them all on screen. This is how much the engine affects the overall team scores in Deadly Assault. So while the engine is very good and a very good pull if you want to invest more into Orphie, this is how much it affects the overall team score in Deadly Assault. The second best engine is Severed Innocence, which is Soldier Zero Ambi's signature engine. This engine has a bunch of crit damage stacked onto it, and Orphie is able to get the full stacks of it, and she can almost utilize the full engine except the electric damage part. For the third best slot we have Heartstring Nocturne, which is Evelyn's signature engine. This is an absolutely goated engine for Orphie. It has crit rate, it has crit damage, and it also allows Orphie's chain attack and her ultimate to ignore fire resistance. After that we have the Markate Desire, after that Cannon Rotor, and trailing in behind that we have the Gilded Blossom. So Orphie has access to good engines, it's just her own is a league on its own, because it's the only good engine in the game that has energy regen for Orphie. And this one gets especially important if you take her out of the Aftershock team, because the uptime of her buff is already bad if you don't have Aftershock, and it gets significantly worse if you don't have an energy regen engine. Now we get to the question, how does Drill Rig Axis compare? And I gotta say, don't really bother with it. It has energy regen, but she sadly cannot make use of a single thing of the actual flavor text, so opt in for other engines. And overall the engine gives you around a 10 to 15% power boost. Orphie's M1 is a really good Mindscape. It makes it so her special attack and her EX special attacks ignores 15% of a target's fire resistance. And more importantly, agents with the zeroed in state deals 25% increased damage. And you can just imagine this in an Aftershock team, so Soldier Zero Ambi benefiting of this, Orphie benefiting, and then Trigger benefiting. That is a lot of increased damage that the entire team can make use of. With the M1 I saw an increase of around 10% in total team score in Deadly Assault. For her M2, when Orphie and Magus launch an Aftershock, restore 65 decibels. This can trigger once every 4 seconds. And after Orphie and Magus use their ultimate, their attack increases by 20% for up to 45 seconds. Now this is a good one, it's not as impactful as the M1. I saw an overall increase in team score of around 5 to 7%. And M2 obviously helps her get her ultimate much faster, and she also gets a sizable attack buff after every ultimate. I'd say if you're planning to invest deeper into Orphie, first picking up her engine, then her M1 is the good choice. M2 can also be a good stopping point. M4 is surprisingly good for being an M4, and the M6 is not a bad M6. So one last time, let Orphie gather up her bottled heat, switch into her, maybe via defensive assist, hold down her EX special attack button, shoot laser, take the quick assist, enjoy the buff, and that is the general gameplay loop. She will carry out the laser even if we switch, so always take that quick assist. Now, important to note that if you start a chain attack window like that, which can be very smart to do, especially if you're running her outside of Aftershock, so every second really counts. Her EX special goes in several stages. She's charging up her laser. If she gets hit, she immediately charges to the max level immediately. Once she's fired her max duration of it, she will also do a follow-up EX special up into the air and shoot down on the enemy. Now this is a lengthy process, and if you're not careful you might interrupt it halfway through if you quick assist in with Orphie too quick. So what I like to do, if I start a stun window with her laser, I use the other two characters' chain attacks first, and then I use Orphie's. This will make sure that we probably don't interrupt her, and also in a stun window, feel super free to use your EX special and using your ultimate, because they do quite a lot of damage and they take almost no field time because they both trigger quick assists, so you can switch out to another character immediately. Don't overstack on bottled heat. She will try to accumulate more even if she's filled up, so also make sure that there's room for more. And make sure that the buff is up when you really need it. And if you're playing her in an Aftershock team, there's never any excuse why the buff isn't up at all times. Alright everybody, this is getting cold, so let's wrap it up. And as always, thank you so much for watching, have a big hug, and until next time, Hako out.
Oh, I wish that you could just take it easy. Lay back, fast the way I roll. So get off my tail or else you will get to say hello to my jolly sharks. Got up like, don't you know? Don't you know? You should know that I'll fight them all. These sharks got up like, don't you know? Hurry up and get it done. But don't run my patience to the ground. If you need me here, these sharks got up like, don't you know? Ooh, yeah, you better keep to none.